Another MK Ultra mind control music video called Self Control. Laura hit Self Control is the ex-tone of everything 80s, but it's also the of everything MK Ultra, a disturbing story of an MK slave manipulated by an abusive handler. Released in the 1984, Self Control rocked disco clubs around the world as ladies wearing big curly hair and shoulder pads danced frequently with men wearing thick, muscular and massive musclets. All of these beautiful people sang I live among the creatures of the night without realizing what it truly meant. They thought it was about a girl enjoying the nightlife, but that is only the face value. The video of Self Control adds a significant layer to the song, one that is rather troubling. The singer is stalked by a masked man who eventually ends up shirtless in her bedroom. Combined with the MK symbolism prepped through the video, Self Control becomes a tribute to the occult elite, a promotion of its symbolism and a celebration of their most sadistic practice, monarch mind control. If you've never heard of this, monarch mind control has been used for years. It started through the CIA. When the video was released in 1984, the music industry was beginning to adopt the music video as a promotional tool, and Self Control was rather groundbreaking in its scope. It was also the first video to be directed by Oscar-winning director William Friedkin, the director of The Exorcist. When hiring a director who was famous for terrorizing an entire generation with the story of a demon-possessed girl, a certain level of creepiness is expected, and Friedkin surely delivered. However, conditionally to The Exorcist, the most disturbing elements of Self Control are not in your face, but are instead implied through symbolism. Symbolism is easy to recognize and even blatant. In short, it is a shameless celebration of the occult elite's mind control during an era when only a few people even knew these things existed. The night is her world. An advanced interpretation isn't necessary to understand that self-control is not simply about nightlife. It is mainly about Laura losing her will, her power, and her very self at the hand of a faceless being. The chorus of the song sums up the situation. You take my self-control, you got me living only for the night before the morning comes. The story is told, you take myself, you take myself, as you see. Basically a monarch mind control victim. The line "you take myself" is very significant, especially in the context of mind control. In theological, the self is defined as follows: the self consistent of a person consists unconscious aspects, their personality, cognitions or thoughts and feelings. All these traits or aspects combine together into the person's core identity. Other symptoms for self are soul, ego, personality, or individual self. The ultimate goal of an MK Ultra handler is to take the key to the slave core personality and to create a new propagandable alter persona. This is accomplished through trauma and this isolation. In these contexts, the night becomes a meteor for this isolation. The trance-like state in which slaves are forced into during programming onto the video, as we see a doll. What does a doll simulate? An MK Ultra mind slave. The video begins with a doll with brown hair, reminiscent of Laura. In MK symbolism, dolls represent the malleable and controllable alter personas of MK slaves. Basically, they've had a new persona created. Their own old personality no longer exists. One's been created for them. They're now owned by the devil. We then see Laura herself looking somewhat zoomed out. There is a man laying in her bed. We assume it's her boyfriend. Laura then gets ready to go out. She is held by weird people who appear out of nowhere. All these people, as these people appear, we begin to understand that what happens in the video is mostly in Laura's head. When Laura goes outside, her mind control journey begins, and there is no lack of symbolism representing this. As Laura stands outside, two mannequins floating in midair, a great way of representing destructive MK slaves appear behind her. Right after she goes out, a luxury car pulls up in front of Laura, and he's got a mask on, MK handler. A masked man is sitting in the back seat. The masked man is the MK handler. Laura, while MK slaves are isolated, their MK handlers have the ability to enter their mind and to control their thoughts and actions. The fact that this masked man is being driven around in the back of a luxury car implies his connection with the occult elite. While dancing in a nightclub, Laura sees the masked man again. She follows him. While the masked man stalks Laura in the nightclub, we see a bunch of masks behind him, indicating that MK handlers are also MK slaves themselves with multiple personas. So basically the handler is a slave as well, basically programmed to carry out the New World Order's agenda. According to a recent poll, 100% of women would not follow a man wearing a mask. Not a real poll. So why does Laura follow him? Because she has no self-control. The lyrics of the first verse perfectly describe the mind state of an MK slave who is at the mercy of the handler during dissociation, aka the night. See, this is the difference between an MK slave and somebody that is just a complete sellout, and like Kanye West that lies and goes, I'm a victim of the Illuminati. He's not a victim at all. He's not once ever made a song like this like he's a victim, because he isn't. He's not a victim. He knows what he's doing. There's a difference between a willing servant of Satan and an MK program person. Somebody that won't basically continuously promote the devil will be MK Ultra'd. If they won't do what their handler tells them, they'll reprogram them. In the night, no control. Though the walls, something's breaking. Wearing white, are you walking down the street of my soul? So a soul is basically owned, basically simulating the devil. The devil controls her soul, owns her soul. She hasn't got control of her own soul. The rest of the chorus is a rather prohibiting description of the mind state of a dissociated slave who lives in a dream world fabricated by their handler. This is why many of them today believe they're a god, because they've been brainwashed. They have been brainwashed by the Illuminati and the handler. That's why they promote I'm a god, because it's been brainwashed by Lucifer in their head, and a safe night. I'm living in the forest of my dream. I know the night is not as it would seem. I must believe in something, so I'll make myself believe it, that this night will never go. Laura cannot fight the will of the masked man and finds herself following him. He takes her to a hidden section of the nightclub where we discover an eyes wide shut style masked orgy taking place, simulating the elite, because this is what the elite do. Laura is symbolically taken to the occult elite's underworld where the Illuminati parties happen. The masked man then undresses Laura, who appears to be in a trance as she is released in the party. This scene represents rather literally Laura being used as a sex slave in the elite parties. This is what many of them are used, as sex slaves. Because as we know, as the devil and that promote the women and research subject and nothing else, because there's just a bunch of perverts and a lot of them are pedophiles. Laura, however, realizes that something is terribly wrong and attempts to escape. She soon discovers that one cannot run away from one's own mind. When Laura attempts to run away, hands stick aggressively out of the walls, infiltrating the trauma and torture MK slaves face when they go against their programming. When Laura finally reaches the end of the hallway, we see the masked man who was waiting for her the entire time. Basically, she can't get away. Back home, Laura realizes that she is safe nowhere, not even in her bedroom. The masked man magically appears in her room, and he is shirtless. We all know who is behind it. The person that really you can't escape is called the devil. Nope. He then grabs Laura and has his way with her. MK handlers sexually abuse their slaves to further trauma and programming. The masked man then magically disappears. He is in and out of her head. Laura then sits there completely zoned out, basically looking like she's been raped or something. The face of trauma. Laura then lays in the bed next to her boyfriend, who was apparently sleeping the entire time. As he turns his head towards her, an awful surprise awaits her. It's the masked man again. The handler is everywhere in the MK slave's mind. He controls her thoughts, her actions, and her entire reality. She cannot escape him because he has the key to her core personality. The video ends with a symbolic image, one that is rather disturbing considering the true meaning of the video, the doll. And it's also got one eye. It's the same doll from the beginning of the video. But her hair is messed up and her dress is torn, exposing a breast. One of her eyes is closed, the Illuminati one eye sign. The doll was clearly violated. The one eye sign indicates who is behind this, the occult elite. The creepy frozen smile on the doll is rather revolting. So yeah, this is not simply a song about nightlife. inspection of the song and video, Self-Control tells the story of a woman who loses her entire self at the hand of a handler. She is taken to elite parties, and when she attempts to escape, she gets abused by her handler, who she can never escape. Although released at the dawn of the ages of the music video, Self-Control already contained all of the handmarks of an Illuminati mind control video. More than 30 years, the same storylines are all still there, from the symbolism to the twisted hidden meanings. Today, more than ever, we see young stars singing about their state of mind control over catchy melodies, complete with creepy videos celebrating the elite occult MK system. In short, Self-Control is considered to be one of the defining songs of the 80s, but it can also be considered to be one of the defining songs of MK culture.